It's 2025 and the Inside the Orange podcast is coming back to you in a fantastic new way. The 6 segments of promoting positive change, and we are bringing this to you on our brand new series of the podcast and how we do everything related to the Inside the Orange. Welcome back to a brand new episode and a brand new series of the Inside the Orange podcast. We are back and we are going to be looking at the 6 segments to promoting positive change. We're going to be looking at organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. And we welcome you all along to help us on this journey and to hear some amazing stories of positive change and ways that we want to help you to achieve it. Here, though, as ever, is how you can get in touch with the podcast and how you can follow the podcast on social media. At the Inside the Orange podcast, we're about creating positive change through organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. And you can follow us on YouTube, Instagram at Inside the Orange, on X at Orange Watts, and the Inside the Orange podcast on Facebook. We want you to reach out and help build the community. Now, today's episode is just a brief introduction to the new 6 segments that we're going to be focusing on in the future episodes of the podcast. So I'm going to give you a brief little hint into what every single one of them's about, and we will be back to talk about it with some amazing guests, and I might even have some new people supporting the podcast, so you don't just have to listen to my voice every single week. But we'll get to that more later on. Here now is a breakdown of our brand new 6 segments. When Inside the Orange came out in 2020, it was about understanding people. And we want to help continue to understand people, but we also want to drive positive change. And that positive change will come in our 6 segments. We are so happy to announce them, and they're going to be so important for you to help drive that positive change in yourself, help inspire others, and lead a happier and healthy life. We're giving you 6 key words: organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. All words that signify the orange as we go down the list, as we go through. Everyone an acronym of the word orange, and that is what it's all about this year. We will break it down, every single one of those, right now. I know what you're thinking. You talk about organisation, Rich, and it takes you 6 months to put a podcast episode out. Absolutely right, because I do have things going on in the world. But it's about making sure you're planned, making sure that what you are doing is at the right time for you, so we don't get burnt out, so we don't have things happening to us that we can't help and support our own selves through. I used to be a big believer in chaos management. I used to think it was a selling point for me. You know, if there's going to be a problem, I'll help, I'll get there, I'll fix it, I'll do whatever that needs to be. But if you are planned for chaos, you will only ever see chaos, and people will only see chaos in you. What we're talking about is making plan A through to plan Z. Doesn't mean you've got to have it, doesn't mean everyone will go right, but being planned in what you're doing sets you on the right foot, and we want to help that. We want to talk about making your bed in the morning. If it's something that's as simple as that, something as simple as organising your office, you've got a better workspace to work in. All this stuff is hugely, hugely important, and organisation is a key aspect of making a positive change. Why is reading important? Well, in this day and age, we can read on our phones, we can read on Kindles, we can read in books, whatever. But we're doing it less and less. And I think we need to be doing it more. Or we're reading fantasies of stories of where we want to be. We want to bring you
real life reading. We want to bring you things that have happened to people to help promote positive change. The right books that help you make that change, to make something impossible, that 1% different. There are fantastic authors out there, some that have been around for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years that people still haven't read. I'm still finding authors that books have been out for 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, because the only way you know about a good book is when people talk about it. So we are going to be talking with some fantastic authors. We're going to be talking about some amazing books, but we're also going to be starting the Inside the Orange podcast book club, where we are going to be sharing these books with people. We're going to be sharing these ideas and asking people to give their views on these amazing books. Reading is such a big passion of mine now, and honestly, I can't wait to talk about it more on this year's podcast. If you dream about being more active, if you dream and want to be more around for people because you want to be doing more, but you're not a runner, and all these places look like you need to be a marathon runner to join these groups, or you need to be able to weightlift to do whatever. We aren't talking about that. We're talking about making positive changes to yourself, making that 1% change. So even if you can't run, if you can walk, brilliant. Even if you are struggling to do anything that is a big challenge, let's break it down to 1%. We didn't manage to walk 60 miles, 80 miles in our fundraising overnight. It takes build up. It takes that 1% to start walking outside the front door first, to start lifting that first weight, even if it's £5, it doesn't matter. It all starts at that point. And we're going to be talking about being active to help you make a positive change. And we want to hear from you about what you've done that makes positive changes. One of my biggest areas of battles, and it continues to this day, is nutrition. I have got a food addiction. I have always struggled massively with what I need to eat compared to what I want to eat. Made a huge change in the back of 2024, and I'm going to continue to do that. I'm going to be sharing some places where it is going to be good for you to eat the right things, or to eat what you need, or to eat to be active, all the things that link together. We want to help you, even if it's cutting down a little bit or increasing a little bit if you need to, if you're not eating enough or eating the right things. We're going to be sharing with you some fantastic stuff about nutrition, and we also want to be speaking to people who help with nutrition, help people eat right. Okay, I enjoy food, I still continue to enjoy food, but I need to make sure it's the right food, and that's really important. So nutrition is going to be a big part, and something I'm going to be learning about. I've got a fantastic new colleague with me, Chris Outram, who's going to be with me, who loves his nutrition, and he likes talking to me about nutrition. So I look forward to Chris joining us to have a conversation about that. Guys, my life got better when I started learning to say thank you. Thank you to anyone who had helped move from point A to point B. But also, and it was pointed out to me by my great friend Chris Outram, who's going to be joining us in the podcast this year, it's also about saying thank you to yourself, showing gratitude to yourself, that if you're making the positive changes, you're thanking yourself for it, you're logging what you've done, and you're helping yourself realise just what a positive change you're making. We are going to be talking to people, and we're going to be thanking every single person who contributes to what we do as much as we can, to say thank you and to show that gratitude. For people who have even spent 5 minutes with us on the podcast in our first 5 years, absolutely, we say thank you to every single person, and we want to make sure people are thanked, because being thankful for yourself and for others is a huge way of creating positive change. And the final aspect that we want your support on is engagement. It is the E of the orange. It is engagement. We want you to help support us by getting involved, speaking to us, giving us suggestions, giving us some thoughts, telling us what you think about it, engaging with our guests that we have on to talk about it, and just generally just talking more about positive change in your life. We are going to keep the hashtag positive change as much as we can in all our posts to help support this, and we want you to drive that engagement. We want you to help that. There is so much online these days. It's bad news, and a lot of drama that's created, and hatred that's spread, and we don't want that. We're not about that. We're about creating positive change, and the more we get behind that, the more we can push that, the more that becomes out in the social media platforms, which sometimes are more used to create drama and to share that bad news. We want to create the good stuff. We want to make sure people are getting shared and having the stuff they need in this life engaged with the right way. And we want you to engage with our guests. We want you to engage with our forum. We're going to create a forum. We're going to have our book club. We're going to have bits to make this as interactive as possible for you. Our social media pages, get involved, get on them as much as you want. Spreading positivity, of course. And that is our ask for you, to engage, to show that engagement, because the more we engage with something, the easier it is to share that and grow that engagement. And that's what this is all about, creating that positive change. To find out more, keep listening to the Inside the Orange podcast and keep looking out for our social media platforms. And of course, when we speak to people, catch up with them as well. We will be speaking to lots and lots of different people in this new series and beyond, and we want them to be engaged by our audience. So guys, for 2025, we also have a brand new voice coming. You don't just have to listen to this for the rest of time now. We have got a brand new co-presenter. He will be joining me on the show for episodes. He is hugely into his activity and his nutrition, and I am delighted to say he's one of my good friends. So Chris Outram will be the new voice for the Inside the Orange podcast. And I can't wait for us to sit down, have some chats, and for you to listen to our amazing 2025 and beyond adventure.
So that is this year's adventure discussed and sorted. We are going to be looking at organisation, reading, activity, nutrition, gratitude and engagement. And like I said, we want you to be involved. So check out our social media channels. They are going to be coming up in the end credits as well, so you do get an idea of where to find us. We want you to engage with us. We will be coming to you every Friday at 5 p.m. on YouTube and across Spotify as well. So we want you to get involved. So don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, so you never miss an episode. Until then, we will see you at the next episode. And as always, goodbye and take care.